GFN Soccer TV, with all your favourite shows in one place, is now live in the UK with Samsung TV Plus. Hi and welcome along to a Game of Two Halves, the show where we take a look back at all of the weekend's games with Mark Goldbridge in the building. How you doing, Mark? Or is that a stupid question?
Tired. No, I'm all right. I mean, to be honest, I don't think it was an amazing Premier League weekend. I think this international break that we've spoken about so many times, but obviously I know we're going to talk about United, so I'm not going to hide behind the international break for that. We were awful.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Manchester City 3, Manchester United 0. Just before we start off talking about it, there was a brilliant tribute right at the start of the game to Ricky Hatton. Of course, was a big Manchester City fan, but I think he went beyond that. He was a Manchester boy, which both set of fans, it didn't matter where you lived in that city, you loved him as a fighter. He was a world champion. He fought the best. I met him quite a few times, actually, and he was such a nice guy, right? So humble. And to hear about his death yesterday was a real shock. And I thought the tribute at the start, both sets of fans with the minute's applause and both sets of fans singing his name, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I remember when he used to come out in at his fights, he used to come out to Blue Moon, which of course is the Man City anthem. He was a huge Man City fan. And even Pep Guardiola was in tears at the start. I mean, it was a great tribute, Mark.
Yeah, and as you say, I think anybody who's a fan of boxing appreciated Ricky Hatton, UK, worldwide as well. Obviously had some, a fantastic career and never shirked a challenge. As we know, he didn't win every fight, but he took on some bloody good boxers as well. So tragic. And I think, as I said yesterday, and to anybody who's watching this, I think, no suspicious circumstances. The belief is that it was probably suicide. So he'd had his mental health struggles. And I think, in some way, shape or form, everybody has those. And I just think it's important that when these things happen that are tragic and sad, if you are feeling that way, because we're all part of communities, just reach out and speak to people, because it's the people who get left behind. And it's, there's always somebody out there willing to help you. So just, it's really sad news.
Yeah, really, really sad news. Ricky Hatton, a true legend who passed away. And it almost like it gave Manchester City extra motivation. You don't really need it when it's a derby game, but they played very well in the game. They were very, when they got their chances, they were very, very clinical. But Manchester United, another defeat for Ruben Amorim. Where does he go from here, Mark? I mean, it's all right talking about, I'm sticking to my principles and my tactics, which is some of the things he was asked about after the game. But yet another loss. He's got to get things together soon, hasn't he? Or he's going to face a sack.
Yeah, and I think in many ways I appreciate his honesty. I always have. And I think there's a lot to unpick from yesterday. But ultimately, I don't think Man City got out of third gear. I don't think they needed to. I think United were in it for 20 minutes and then a silly mistake at the back. And then, it's like a boxing match, actually. It's like when you get knocked down by the first one, you just got to wait to knock them down again. And Man City just played a very intelligent game throughout. I think the big conversation about the formation and the system, which exists in the United fan base, it certainly exists in the media, it's almost irrelevant now, because he said after the game, I'm not changing. So people who are going, he needs to change the formation, you basically got to say, we've got to change the manager. Like, he isn't going to change. So he's going to stick to that system. You either stick
Why
to the manager.
Though? Why is he going to keep sticking to that system, right? Now, come on. Something ain't working. You can't just say, oh, it's my principles. I'm sticking to it, especially as a manager. You can make changes that will make you a bit more resolute, get through a little sticky patch. Then you can start bringing back your system. But it's coming across now as arrogant. You know what I mean? You've got a problem. Your system is not working, mate. You know what I mean? Why don't you try something else just to get things? But even the players must be thinking that, surely.
So that's the danger, isn't it? Look, my personal issue is that I don't really care about the system or the formation. I don't think you don't need a formation or a system to beat Grimsby. It's a player profile. But looking at the game, speaking as a United fan, most people do not like Bruno Fernandes in the midfield. if Arsenal were playing a midfield two and you're playing Odegaard next to Declan Rice, you're instantly going to go, there's a weakness there. And if you look at the first goal yesterday, and it happened against Fulham, it's Bruno who loses Foden. The midfielder's got to go with the runner. That, to me, talk about system formations, okay. But I think if you played Mainu and Ugarte, or Ugarte and Casemiro, or Casemiro and Mainu, they know that role. Putting Bruno Fernandes in there, who we could have took 90 million for from Saudi. He's a brilliant player, Bruno. I still think he's United's best player, but he doesn't fit in that team. He is not a midfielder, and he's not a number 10 in the way that system works. So I think the system formation situation is irrelevant in the sense he's not going to change it. But what is relevant is that Bruno Fernandes doesn't work in that system, and it's costing us games. And I think the answer to the question is, Robbie, he's stubborn. He's not going to change. And in some ways, Sir Alex was stubborn. Arsene Wenger was stubborn. But there becomes a point where you don't have all the answers. And I think at the moment, he has got to look at changing things. And the question is, will he? And we've been in this position so many times at United. I mean, some United fans actually believe he wants to get the sack. Like, they actually think he wants Ineos to sack him because then he gets the money and he can move off and say the club's a bloody mess, because it is a mess. But it's appalling to consider that United might be sacking another manager a year after sacking another one and spending £200 million. But we're in big, big trouble. In some ways, losing to Arsenal and Man City, when you look at Newcastle losing 12 games and getting fifth last year, you'd accept those types of losses. But I know, and we're going to lose to Bournemouth. We're going to lose to Crystal Palace. Those results are coming down the line.
Well, it's Chelsea next. Right, I'm sure that's your next game, right? Chelsea at Old Trafford.
Yeah,
that's not. I mean, it's a difficult start for United. Let's not forget, it is a difficult start. Going away to Man City, even if you're playing well, is a difficult ask, right? But they've got a difficult start. He needs something that, I mean, winning against Chelsea at the weekend would lift the place, would give him a big boost as well. That game's now becoming an essential win for him, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the results Chelsea have had, they have dropped points, but the one thing Chelsea have got is a bloody good midfield. So you go into that game straight away and you go, if you're going to play Bruno in that midfield, it's problematic. And I would be saying, Cole Palmer, just attach yourself to Bruno, and then, when we're on the attack, just sprint off him, because he won't go with you and you might get a tap in again. And if we concede the same goal again, it becomes an issue. But I think, look, for 20 minutes, we're okay, but the games are about fine margins. And I don't think Man City were that good. You've got Man City next week. Now, if I was an Arsenal fan, there's a couple of things I'd be annoyed about yesterday. The last-minute handball from Burnley and how Man United have just given Man City a really big boost of confidence when I don't actually think they're that good. I'd expect Arsenal to beat Man City, but you just never know how much confidence they might take from that now.
Yeah, and the one player that did play really well in the game was Haaland. He's, I said at the start of the season, I still think he'll be the top goal scorer, and he's already on fire. You know what I mean? Despite City's, sort of inconsistent start, he's still scoring the goals. And as long as he's around, they're going to be a problem.
Yeah, but I think, unfortunately, I'd fancy Arsenal's defence to deal with him better. We've seen how you shut him down, and the two goals he scored were really good, and he's in my team of the week. No spoiler there, but I also think Gabriel tracks him a lot better than Shaw on the first goal, and ain't no way Mascara or Gabriel are going to get done like Harry Maguire. I mean, he looked like he was running backwards. So, United did he's world class though. Haaland, you give him chances, he's world class.
Yeah, to be fair to Maguire, come on, he had a head start on him, even though...
I mean, that substitution, you take Lenny Yoro off, who's fast, for Maguire. Yeah. I mean, I actually said on our watch-along, is that sub like a resignation letter? Because you don't put Harry Maguire as last man against Sterling Haaland. It's madness. Yeah,
it's a bit of a shame. And they left him almost like one-on-one on him.
Yeah,
I mean,
every time. Mad.
That felt like a weird one. Yeah, moving on to that Liverpool one. Liverpool, now, is this... What do we put this down to? Is this what champions do? Or are they getting away with it week in, week out? I mean, I
want to ask you about this. Come on, you're an Arsenal fan. At any point, did you not expect that? Because I was sat there watching it, and I was like, this is happening. Even in the 90th minute, it will happen.
I knew that, they were somehow going to get something out of that game. And let's be real, I mean, the way in which they kept going. That's what Liverpool do. But the way it happened, these guys, man, they seem to play against 10 men every week, and then they just seem to be getting. Now, I remember when Arsenal did this a few seasons ago, right? And people were saying their luck's going to run out, and it kind of did. Is this their luck's going to run out, or is this what champions do? I mean, what's your opinion on it?
My opinion on it is I've seen every game of Liverpool. Bournemouth came back from 2 behind. Newcastle should have got something. You lost to a worldie. And then last night, it's just a stupid, well, funnily enough, it's an ex-Man United player. I mean, I know he's got his head in his hands, but mate, you don't turn your back on a cross with your arm in the air. It's just, especially when he's come on as a sub. If you're a Burnley player, you're like, I've worked my arse off all game, and you do something stupid like that. In fairness, Burnley needed a clean sheet. They were never going to score. No. So you could look at it and go, look, Liverpool have been knocking on the door for 90 minutes. Inevitably, it's going to happen at some point. But you want it to happen in a way where it's a good goal, like the Newcastle goal was against Wolves. It's just a stupid bit of defending. But Liverpool have got 12 from 12, and realistically,
without playing well.
They could have 7 from 12. They could have dropped 2. They could have dropped points easily. So I think it's worrying that Liverpool have got 4 wins from 4, because I think they will get better. But no, listen, you've got to hang in there, haven't you?
You got to hang in there, and listen, they're finding a way, and you got to give them full credit. Listen, I always look at it and say, if a team has been attacking all game, right, and something like that goes their way, they worked for it, they deserved it really, because they were the team that were knocking on the door. You know what I mean? That was never going to happen to Burnley, because they just hardly ever in Liverpool's box. So you got to give them credit for that. The other game that was a really entertaining game, this one, Brentford 2, Chelsea 2. A really good game. Again, contrasting styles. Chelsea, lots and lots of possession, but Brentford, as direct as you will see. The long throws were back. Everything was direct, but it worked. And they deservedly, I think, to watch that game. It was a really entertaining game. A game that you only really see in the Premier League, where you got such contrasting styles. But I thought that Brentford deserved something out of this game. And Chelsea dropping points.
Yeah, I was really pleased Brentford got something out of it. Despite Caicedo, I thought he was brilliant again.
Oh,
and it was
a goal.
It was a good, great goal. But look, fair play to Brentford. I think already we're seeing, we were speaking pre-season, and I certainly thought Brentford would struggle. You lose Thomas Frank and half your team, but they have a DNA and they've kept it going. And I think, we've seen it with Bournemouth as well. They've had a really good start. So it's not predictable, this Premier League. Sunderland have had a good start. So I think it's great for the league that you get those types of results. And, if Burnley had held on yesterday, it would have been great for the league as well. Unfortunately, they couldn't do that. But no, Chelsea will probably look at their start to the season and be okay with it. But they have dropped points, home to Palace, away to Brentford, that if they want to be where Arsenal and Liverpool are going, they're the sort of games you've got to turn into wins. And we just spoke about how Liverpool turn it into a win, whereas Chelsea turn a win into a draw. But credit to Brentford.
Yeah, I said from the start of the season, right? Chelsea, very, very good side. Definitely going forward, one of the best. But I still look at their defense and think, can be got out. I thought the goals,
keeper especially.
Yeah, I thought the goals were poorly defended. You know what I mean? Like, they've got a good defense, but is it, when you compare it to Arsenal's and you compare it to, Liverpool's, I think they don't have as good a defense. I think they should have went and invested maybe in another centre back, especially after Levi Colwill got that injury. Yeah. But they dropped points there. Arsenal, a very good win for them at home against Nottingham Forest. Big Angie's Nottingham Forest, and he did go defensive like I thought he would do, but it didn't work. Arsenal were in very good form, and a couple of players there. They had a lot of players out, Arsenal. I think that was what boded well for us. I was at the game, of course. And, last season, if we're missing Saka, Saliba, Odegaard goes down early in the game, no Havertz, literally all 4 absolute key players missing, but they weren't missed at all. Madueke was brilliant in the game. Zubimendi with a couple of goals, including one absolute banger. Eze coming in, an assist. It was a complete, new front line. And Gyökeres, the guy that's, running in Timberlands, wearing jeans when he's playing, all this stuff. A goal by him. And he looked good in the game. Some nice little touches. And a very emphatic win for Arsenal. Could have been more. They didn't really get out of third gear. And Arsenal looking like they're definitely going to mount a challenge this season.
Well, these are exactly the games that you might have drawn last year. That's what I said on Saturday. I was like, people can criticise Arsenal. They've just lost to Liverpool, which was a big loss. International break, which is always a disruptor for everybody, and a comfortable, goal difference in boost as well. So I think they, I wouldn't say they were amazing, but they totally deserved to win the game. I thought Madueke was brilliant. I thought, as you said, they're dealing with injuries, which is really positive. Obviously, they've got to beat Man City next week. And then I think, although the Liverpool result was disappointing, I think it's a very good start to the season for Arsenal. But yeah, I mean, we seem to talk about Gyökeres every week. And I just think this is just the way football is now. It's almost like even when a player's not a flop and he's doing well, they'll start an agenda around, what was it Carragher said? He's not easy on the eye. Since when's that ever been a thing? He's got 3 goals in 4 games.
Erling Haaland's not easy on the eye.
No.
I mean,
and I actually think he played well. I thought, all right, the tap in, but his positioning was good for that. But his link-up play, he smashed the post. It was a brilliant bit of play, that link-up play. I like the fact that Arsenal, actually, it's a completely different front three because of the injury to Saka. And that's not easy. I always praised Klopp for changing his midfield in one summer, and Arteta's got a completely different front three. So I think the positives for Arsenal this week are good in a weekend where it's really hard to find a team that actually played well because I think everyone had a bit of a hangover from the international break.
Yeah, even no Rice at the start of the game either. Big win for Newcastle as well. When their first win of the season, and Volta, the guy who's taken over from Isak, off to a flyer, scoring on his debut. Nothing better than to do that at home, St James's Park, and they beat Wolves, who played well actually. Wolves 1-0. Yeah,
watch that. I thought Wolves were good for 20 minutes, and then it was just a brilliant cross from Murphy and a really good header by Baltameda. It was a challenging day for Newcastle, but I think this is their mistake they made in the first 3 games. They dropped a lot of points because they didn't have a striker, and then ironically, a striker comes in a tight game and wins them it. So I think that should be Newcastle kickstarting their season now.
Yeah, Graham Potter's in trouble at West Ham. He had that good win away at Nottingham Forest in the last game, but humbled at home 3-0. They went down to 10 men, West Ham, and fell apart again. This is the second game in a row where they've not in a row, but second game I'll see them play in a row at home against a London team. The first one was against Chelsea. This one against Tottenham. It's completely fell apart after conceding a goal. Tottenham looking good. 3-0 winners away at West Ham.
I mean, you've got to look at it. I just think he's a dead man walking, Potter, really. I don't think he fits the West Ham fan base that well. I think he's the sort of manager that doesn't really adhere himself to fan bases. We saw it at Chelsea. And clearly he hasn't got the players to play the way he used to at Brighton, which is also a long time ago. So I understand why they tried it. But, there's a guy called Jose Mourinho's about. I just think that's got to be worth a punt because they're going to be sacking him at some point, and at least it gives West Ham a little bit of, aura. But I think they're a club in trouble. They sold their best player and didn't replace him.
Yeah. Running through some of the other results. Great win for Bournemouth, beating Brighton by 2-1. Bournemouth off to a fly. You sort of spoke about it a little bit earlier that they lost so many players, key players. At the start of this season, a lot of people thought they were going to be in big trouble. They started the season brilliantly. Even the loss at Liverpool, they were excellent in that game. I mean, and Semenyo again. I mean, they got the winning penalty, but they're looking good, aren't they, Bournemouth?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch it. I've seen the highlights and I've read a few reports. Apparently, Semenyo was superb again. But look, they've had the same start as Arsenal. They've won 3 and lost to Liverpool at Anfield. I mean, and this is a team that many of us thought might be bottom half of the table, not relegated. But I love this because it's a bit like Frank at Brentford. I mean, this is just so much on the players, obviously, but overarching that is just brilliant coaching. To lose that amount of players and start the season that well, I mean, it's great. And Bournemouth's not a big club. I mean, they only get 12,000 in, don't they? That's the size of their ground. So brilliant coaching, well-run club, and these are the sort of things we want in the Premier League. And I personally don't rate the Brighton manager. I think he's got a way better squad than Bournemouth, and another season where Bournemouth are going to outclass them. And I'm not saying Brighton should be in the top 6, but I do think they've got a very, very good squad, and I think he's underperforming there. But Brighton fans seem to just be happy to play good football and finish mid-table.
Some other games. Fulham, their first win of the season, winning. They left it late. Did you? I don't know if you saw the own goal. That was a brilliant own goal. 1-0. Leeds. You know, they'd be heartbroken by that. Last minute.
Welcome to the Prem.
Welcome to the Premier League. But Fulham beating them by a goal to nil. And 2 board draws. Palace 0, Sunderland 0. Although Sunderland goalkeeper done brilliantly in that game to keep Palace out. And Everton 0, Villa 0. Which I'm thinking to myself, I'm sure in our predictions games that we play on your channel, which everybody go over there every Friday. We're there. We're looking ahead to the weekend's games and predicting. I'm sure I picked a draw for that game.
You did. You got. Well, I'm not going to ruin it for Friday, but you did. You did.
Yeah, I only say, but it was right when that one came up. I was like, yes. Like there's one where you sort of went a bit left field. I was thinking, yeah, everyone's saying Everton are going to work. Well, I fancy Villa.
I fancy bloody Villa. I went Villa, and apparently Martinez was brilliant in that game for Villa. And look, I live in the Midlands. I know a few Villa fans, and they've got some really miserable faces at the moment because they had a rubbish transfer window. But imagine being a fan of a club that hasn't scored a Premier League goal yet.
No goals this season.
4 games in. I mean, that's I don't understand it.
And they got great attackers.
Rodgers looked great for England in the week as well. I just don't get it.
Rodgers, Watkins, Tielemans, all these players can't out barn door at the moment. It's crazy. So anyway, those were the games. So let's get into our team of the week. Let me just start off. In goal, I've gone for Rose of Sunderland. He pulled off save after save. I was thinking Donnarumma because he did pull off.
That save was very
save was unbelievable.
That save of the week, definitely. But right. I agree with you. I do agree with you because I think that this is what it's meant to be about. And also Martinez apparently played very well for Villa, but Palace would have expected to win that. We both went with a Palace win, and by all accounts, I didn't watch it. I saw a bit of the highlights, but
yeah, I saw the highlights.
You can't just go for big names. That's a guy who's probably just got. Well, Sunderland starts the season is very good, isn't it? 2 home wins, and they've got a point away from home. If they can keep that up, it instills confidence, and that's like scoring a couple of goals. That is.
No, that's what I've gone for him, right, as well. Because to me, like for Sunderland, survival. Which, let's be real, even though they've had a couple of wins, that's the main thing for them. Getting a point away from home and your goalkeepers make so many brilliant saves. I mean, it's so important. And, that's what he did. I mean, so Rose for me. Let's have your back 4.
I agree with you about Timber. I did throw a Sunderland defender in, Mukiele, because I just was like, surely I've got to throw somebody in. And Van der Ven definitely. But I did struggle, even though there was a lot of clean sheets. It was just sort of like, I don't like picking defenders just because it's a 0-0 draw, because that doesn't always mean good defending. So I agree with Timber. I thought he was brilliant again. I think he's probably the best right back in the league at the moment, which will probably annoy Spurs fans. I agree with Van der Ven. Robertson at left back. I mean, you probably could argue a few others. I mean, I think that
Robertson done all right. He done all right. Because my 4's Timber, Robertson, from Liverpool, Mosquera. I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like again. Yeah.
This kid 20 is coming, and he's we've not missed Saliba yet, and that's a very big compliment. I thought he was brilliant on the day, and Van der Ven, got a goal, and they kept a clean sheet away from home. That was my back 4.
Yeah, I can't really argue with it because from the games I watched, I wouldn't give a Man City defender it because although they got a clean sheet, it was United. And the Chelsea game, obviously, there was goals in it. Liverpool, I mean, Van Dijk had a bloody cigar and slippers on. It was easy. So I think I can't really argue with that. As long as Timber's in there, I thought he was brilliant. Yeah,
right. Midfield, I've gone Zubimendi, right? Who obviously 2 goals, excellent for him. Bergvall, who as well scored a goal, and
I love him. I think he's a brilliant player.
Played well for Spurs, and Jordan Henderson with that assist. I had to look about 3 times and say, is that Jordan Henderson? I just saw play that ball, and he did. He played well. I know it was 2-2. I could also have went in that game for Caicedo, who scored that absolute ripper.
That's so I did.
But then I don't know, man. I
think
feel
it's
like
easy this week,
Henderson
innit?
needs to get in there. You know what I mean? Like that assist was as good as a banger for me. Like from Henderson, I was like Henderson.
Well, I'm going to make a massive claim on the front three, so I will concede Henderson, but I will just say I think it's probably the easiest midfield. It's not always easy to do the midfield every week, but Zubimendi's got to be in there. I thought Bergvall was brilliant, and I had Caicedo. I did have Caicedo.
Caicedo was good. I mean, what are we going to do then?
He's probably one of the best midfielders in the league at the moment, and it's a great goal. But you know, underdogs have done well this week. I don't mind putting Henderson in really, but I will say I did go Caicedo. But yeah,
okay, give me your front three then. What's your front three?
Well, I agree with Madueke. I thought he's brilliant. I have to put Haaland in there. That's what striking's all about. And then I put Semenyo in there. I know you put Voltemeda in there in a great debut goal, but I don't think the goal was good, but he looked a bit rusty, a bit like Gyökeres in his first few weeks. So happy for him to get the goal, but I thought he was a bit rusty. But I just think Semenyo and Bournemouth, got to give him a shout out.
Semenyo, yes. I originally had him in, but Voltemeda, it's your debut, St. James's Park, no Isak, tight game like you said, and then the moment. This is what strikers do. You get that chance, bang. He's got to be in there. Come on.
Over Semenyo?
Over Semenyo. I am overruling you, right? Because this is my channel.
Yeah, here we go. He's overruled me on Henderson, and now he's overruling me on Voltemeda. Voltemeda, so he doesn't even play on the wing.
Voltemeda's got to be
bad as bloody Amorim with this system. Bloody finding a way for Bruno.
He was clinical, man. Like on his debut. Look at the struggle. Look at Sesko, the struggles he's having at the moment. And listen, he's still early, right? And players like that, it's hard for a striker. Look, he's coming.
I like Voltemeda. I think it was a very good goal. I actually found a way to watch that game because I wanted to watch Voltemeda, but I think Semenyo's been robbed there.
No whistle.
It's not my show. It's not my channel. I've been put in my place.
Overruled.
Voltemeda. I should have thought Caicedo more. So we're putting Voltemeda on the left wing. Okay, this reminds me of doing bloody team of the season with Ben Foster years ago, and he had to shoehorn freaking Harry Kane in on the right wing. I was like, what's going on here? But it's Robbie's show. Remember, everyone.
Anyway, Mark, thank you very much. Don't forget, everybody, we're back on Friday, right? And on Fridays, we predict the games over on Mark's channel. And of course, I'm really interested to see how I've done this week. I think there's a couple that I got in there. So going to be really interesting. And of course, Mark, sorry to drop this and ask you about this, but there are a couple of Champions League games on this week. I know, no European games for Man United, but let's just quickly get a couple of your predictions on some of those European games. Atletico Bilbao versus Arsenal.
Yeah, you should win that. You've got the squad, and we played them in Europe last year, and we battered them over there, actually. They had a very good defence, and we absolutely destroyed them. So I think Arsenal will be comfortable against them, definitely. But I'm looking forward to, Villarreal Spurs should be quite straightforward for Spurs. Yep. I think the Premier League is going to be too strong. But the ones I'm really looking forward to are Bayern Chelsea in Munich. Chelsea, yeah. I think that would be very good because Munich look really good. Man City, Napoli. I think Bayern will beat Chelsea. I'd be impressed with Chelsea if they get a result. I mean, it's always very interesting, isn't it, when you put leagues against each other? I think the Bundesliga and the Premier League are quite close in relation to speed and intensity, but Bayern Munich are a level above that league, as we know. So I'd fancy Bayern to win that. At least he's looking really good.
All right, Liverpool, Atletico.
Again, I think Liverpool will be too strong for them.
Yeah, I don't think Atletico's got off to a great start this season either. Man City, Napoli, of course, Kevin De Bruyne returning, McTominay. I mean, a few
Rasmus
Højlund, who scored.
Yeah, give him the goals, give him the service who scored the goals. He's gone to the right club.
Yeah,
I'd have fancied Napoli to get something about that, but I do wonder about. I said, tell you what though, that's a brilliant fixture for Arsenal, isn't it? Because you play them Sunday and they're playing Thursday night. That's brilliant.
I mean, that's like, Pep's not going to be happy about that, and that's a really tough game as well. Napoli have off to a great start this season, and the final one for the English clubs, which is another great game: Newcastle versus Barcelona.
I think Mal's injured, isn't he?
Lamine Yamal's injured at the moment, but still,
great game.
Great game. You never know. Our guy Voltemade might pop up in that one as well.
Is that Newcastle are a good team, and now they've got a striker. Barcelona again. I like that because it's a bit like Bayern against Chelsea. You pit the best of the leagues against each other, and Barcelona. I think we've got Arsenal will beat a La Liga side, Spurs will, and so will Liverpool. But Newcastle against the best one, I think, be a good game. That could be one of those famous nights. Could be a famous win for Newcastle.
Okay, well, listen, people, thank you very much for watching. And all you German fans out there, right, give Mark some stick. You know what I mean? Look how he was handling Voltemada. You know what I mean? He's supposed to be the Bundesliga king, and he's there. This is Voltemada, right? Like, I've got him in the team, right? We had to get him in.
It's the angle now.
But Mark, thank you very much. Have a great week, mate. And we'll see you back on Friday over on Mark's channel, where we look forward to the weekend's games. Great show, so make sure you check it out. Thank you for watching.